Hey there, this is Halana Black, your freelance writing specialist, coming to you today from Da Nang, Vietnam, a lovely beach town in the central part of Vietnam. Actually, closing in on my last few days here, and I'm on my way to Rwanda. But I just came back in from the grocery store. I took a moto on the way over there, so you can see my hair is just kind of flat and shrunken down from the helmet that you got to put on when you ride the local motos to go anywhere. That's what I use as my transportation while I'm here in Vietnam. But I had an idea I wanted to make a video on for you today on people ask me questions about whether or not now is a good time to start a freelance writing business. And my response is absolutely yes, now is the perfect time to start a freelance writing business, particularly now during a pandemic. Um, and this is why. A lot of times, if you're not used to running a business, we tend to watch a lot of the news, which focuses on how businesses are failing, how businesses are falling apart, how businesses are losing money. And we watch that news over and over and over and over again until we start to internalize that information. And so all of the dreams and businesses and things that we had prior to the pandemic, we sort of put to the side and we stopped doing them because we have a belief, a limiting belief, that because of what we see or what was reported on going on around us, we're using that as a reason as to why we can't move forward in our business. Um, and while it has changed a lot, I'm not going to act like nothing has changed. Um, I want to challenge you to look at the opportunities that are available within the pandemic. Um, and that's really what I have done. Right before the pandemic started, maybe 6 months, 6 to 8 months before the pandemic started, I started writing for tech companies. And it was really because, and I'll have to make a whole video on this, a whole separate video, but I went through a detox process, a very deep detox process. It was a physical detox, a spiritual detox, all sorts of things that I had gone through when I first arrived in Thailand. Um, it lasted about 6 to 8 months, and at the end of that period, I was working the whole time as a freelance writer, but I only had enough energy to do the bare minimum. So I was probably making about at the most maybe $1,000 to $1,200 a month. And at the end of that 6 to 8 month detox period, most of my clients that I was working with had fallen away. It was just kind of strange, but it was okay because at the end of that period, I had realized that a lot of the work, the freelance work that was doing, I didn't really like anymore. I didn't like my clients. Um, I didn't like the things that I was writing about, and I really just wanted to sort of revamp my um, the type of clients that I wanted to work with, my freelance writing clients. And so I decided that I wanted to have less clients, but to be able to do more, to write projects that were more, what's the word that I want to use? To write projects that were a bit longer, that were a bit meatier in content, so that I could command more money for it. You can do blog posts. Blog posts and things are great, but writing blog posts of about 500 to 800 words, a lot of companies will only pay you 50, maybe $100. But I wanted to reach for those companies that were paying close to $1,000 for blog posts and a few $1,000s for things like white papers, technical white papers, and all sorts of other things. And so that was what I did, and I started writing for tech companies. Um, and it was really the best thing for me because some months into when I just started to really connect with companies who needed work, that's when the pandemic hit. That sort of changed a lot. So things sort of settled for a minute. I got to a point where um, people, they just sort of halted a lot of content writing work. They weren't asking for people to come and do writing work for them for some months. Um, but then it started to pick up after a while. And it was mostly because these technology companies had found a way to be able to sell products and services, usually software as a service, or apps, or other services where um, they just were in demand during a pandemic. So these are companies that were helping people to, work from home, people who were doing, helping companies to arrange remote working arrangements for their employees, all sorts of things. Some of them were artificial intelligence companies that were putting together like these online sort of glossaries, so to speak, of questions that remote workers might go online to look for to find answers to their questions on how to do their job. There's all sorts of opportunities within the tech industry that you can look at. And they're looking for people who have content marketing experience, people who know how to write and can learn quickly about what their technologies are about. You don't necessarily have to have a technical background, although if you do, it's a great thing to be able to share with them. I personally don't have much of a tech background at all. My background, for the most part, is in working in the education field. I spent 15 years working in adult education and in higher education and things like that. So it was literally something that I had just sort of picked up and was able to convince a company that I was able to do the work. As a matter of fact, my first official white paper that I did, white paper was for an education technology company. And the only reason I had gotten that job was because I had a background in higher education. So there's ways to be able to draw from your past experience and just sort of marry that with the niche that it is that you want to be able to go for. So for me, that has been ed tech. Now there are other niches that you can go for, including finance. Fintech is very huge right now. People are wanting to find ways to be able to do more of their banking online. So there's software as a service and other apps and things that you could probably write for if you're interested in finance. Health and wellness is absolutely huge right now. Health and wellness, all of these apps of people for people who are interested in learning how to meditate, fasting apps, anything related to diet and building your immune system. A lot of people are a lot more interested in learning how to be healthy, and they need these technologies in order to help them to do that. So I just wanted to challenge you to be able to think differently about whether or not you can start a freelance writing business during a pandemic, because you absolutely can. It's just a matter of thinking about and positioning yourself to be able to take advantage of opportunities that are in line with your past experience, and marrying that to something related to technology or a number of other niches that may be flourishing as a result of the pandemic. So let's get out of that limited thinking and thinking that we've got to, just sit back and wait months, maybe even for another year or two. Who knows how long this thing is going to go before we actually are able to move forward with building a business. That's the wrong way to go about building your entrepreneur mindset. You want to be able to find the opportunity in what's going on right now, and you can absolutely do that. So I want to invite you to go to my website so you can download my free gift. It is at digitalwellpublisher.com/freelance, and it is top, what did I call it? 10 steps to starting your freelance business during a pandemic in 2020. And you'll find the link below this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and let's see, what are we going to do for a question for this video? Ask me your questions. What are your ideas? What are some of the opportunities that you see as a freelance writer in trying to put together a business as a freelance writer during the pandemic? What are you thinking about? Just write your comments below. I'll be happy to respond to your comments. And yeah, let's just see if we can get a conversation going. That would be really nice. So thank you so much. Have a great day. I will see you in the next video.